You know, in everyone's life, couldn't we all use just a little bit more bling? When we do embroidery, there's lots of fun ways to get shiny, shiny, shiny into our projects. So let's explore some of those today. We're going to go through a couple ways that we can get something, well, let's just say, I'm Kathy, this is Sewing Tech Talk, and let's get all shiny. So we're going to use the beautiful Altair today, and we're going to be doing some fun ways, exploring some fun ways to get shiny in. And there's several different ways. Of course, there's metallic thread. We're going to be using mylar. We're going to be talking about making an applique and putting some glitter in there, some glitter vinyl. So what's the easiest way? Well, the easiest way is you could find a thread that looks kind of metallic-like. All of our embroidery thread is a little shiny, whether we use polyester or rayon. But there's a fun way to get some really fun sparkle into our embroidery if we're doing an embroidery with like a fill stitch. That's what I did on this jacket. These flowers, I didn't want to use a metallic thread because I wanted a little tiny bit of sparkle. So I put a mylar behind it, and we're going to explore that on the machine in just a second. So here's another design, which is pretty fun. It has tons of brass behind it, and these bells, well, they look very belly, don't they? Well, that's just a brass-looking mylar underneath the embroidery. So let's see how that works when we get to the machine. So basically, when you're using mylar, what you're doing is you're stitching over the top of a mylar product. And it's a very thin polyester type, very shiny, like a film. You're going to be stitching over the top of that. So let's go to the machine, like I said. And here we are. And I brought up a flower. And here's my flower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch this very first part. And you can see that that color, the very first color, is going to be like this bluish color right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the mylar on where I need the embroidery to be, and let's check out where that needs to be. So here's my flower, and I can go to the different corners of it and make sure I have mylar in all the different spots. And of course you're going to like tape it down because you don't want it to kind of fly away. Now I want to look at this design a little bit closer to show you something. So I'm going to come up here and let's magnify this design. Can you see that it has a fill type stitch in the background? But this fill stitch, there's space in between it, isn't there? Because there's space in between it, that mylar is really going to shine out. So I'm going to say, okay. Now, the design's all ready. I'm going to use just a basic embroidery thread, and I'm all threaded up. And let's see, we need to go to lower our foot. Now that we have green means go, what I'm going to do is I am going to use my stylus, and I'm going to make sure that I have everything where I need to be. When I hit the start button, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it pressed down just to make sure everything's going pretty well. Now this mylar is specially made for embroidery. This mylar is Embrilliance. It looks like I'm going pretty good. If I have to, all I have to do is press this stop button in case I have an emergency. Going pretty good. Now I was getting a little close to my tape here on the side, so I'm just going to pull that off and kind of watch it and make sure. What I'm using is Floriani's Embroidery Perfection tape, and it does a great job. It's sticky, but it doesn't harm my fabric. So I think I'm going to be okay. Let's get this tip of this leaf. Now that turned out really pretty. I'm just going to tear off the mylar and remove the tape, and we're going to use some metallic thread. So that pulled away pretty easy, and I'm going to come back and get all the little bits and pieces off a little bit later. But let's talk about metallic thread. I've gone ahead and I put some metallic thread on the machine, and I've put it on the thread stand that comes with the Baby Lock Altair. Now there's one thing about metallic thread, and I'm going to defend all of the metallic thread manufacturers out there. Oh my goodness, metallic thread, it's kind of hard to make. It's a core with metallic, very fine metallic wrapped around it. You can imagine that's not so easy to do. So metallic thread is kind of special, and let's treat it that way. So let's talk about the ways that what we're going to do is set up our machine to stitch with it. I put it on the thread stand because I like to let the thread have a little bit of, I don't know, time to relax before it gets to the needle. Sometimes a metallic thread will want to kink. So I like to put it on the thread stand and put it through this little guide right here and then come on through. When it gets to the needle, what I've done is I've put on a needle, a machine embroidery needle that's specific for metallic thread. This is Class A's Metafill needle, and I've used a size 80 for this metallic thread. If I had a little bit thicker metallic thread or one that was a little bit more fussy, I might go up a size. Now, I also want the machine to sew a little bit slower when I'm doing my metallic thread. In case anything happens, in case there's any shredding, I want to be able to get to the machine and see that and stop the machine. So I can use the settings in the machine to slow this machine down. Now, it stitches as 1,050 stitches a minute, but I have the 5x7 magnetic frame on here because it's kind of fun and easy to use. One thing that's really neat about this frame is the machine automatically slows the embroidery down to 900 stitches a minute just by putting the frame on. You don't even have to think about it. But I wanted to go even a little bit slower for my metallic. So let's go to the settings page and see how easy it is to do that. So while I'm here, I'm simply going to go to my settings page, and right here, see, it automatically lowered the top speed of the machine to 900, and I can't go any higher. But let's take it down and slow it down. And the slowest I can go is 350 stitches a minute. Okay, so I touch OK. And now I've threaded up my machine with my metallic thread. I've given it plenty of room oh, I have to thread a needle. Oh my goodness. One thing I also want to talk about is you have all kinds of different spool caps and guides that come with your machine. So what you want to do is you want to set up the thread so it's not going to get snagged. Because like I said, it likes to kink up a little bit. So I've put it on the thread stand and I put a little small mini spool, a spool cap up here, and let's thread it up. I'm talking all about the metallic thread and I got to thread it. Here we go. The machine threads really easy. You just follow the numbered path, put it here, lay it in the slot, and push the button. Voila! Now I think I'm ready to rock and roll with my metallic thread. This should go pretty fast. I think I've done everything I need to do, and we're just going to put the metallic thread over that mylar. I think it's going to be stunning. It looks really good. Let me take it out of the hoop. I don't know if you can see it. Look how pretty that is. And this center part, it just pulls right away. Look at how fancy that leaf is. Oh my goodness. All I have to do is pull the rest of this away, and I should be good to go. I don't even know if I have to stitch that last little color. I think I might be okay. All right, so I am using the magnetic hoop today because it's super simple to change things out and get things hooped up. So I can show you stuff on the fly. Now I want to show you another way. I'm going to use the Altair, and another way to add some sparkle is to put some fabric underneath, and it could be a very shiny fabric, kind of like the Mylar, same concept. But what we're going to do is let's create an applique that goes underneath. See how easy that was to rehoop? Now let me come in, and I've already kind of pulled up a design, and let's see. Let's return. Okay. And let's pull up a new leaf. So I'm going to go to embroidery, and in my jump drive I have some fun leaves. And let's pull up one. Let's see. Let's pull up a fun one. Ah, that's the one I just did. Let's pull up this one. Whoops, that's a good one. Perfect. Okay, so there's my design, and I can see that it's very open. And you can see that there's just some stitching around the outside. But I want to put something in the center. I either want to put some lame, or I want to use some Kimberbell. This is really fun stuff. It's like it's a fusible glitter vinyl. But I want to put it on the inside there, but I want it to become an applique. So can I do that? Well, the beautiful thing about the Baby Lock Altair is that it has IQ Designer. So if I bring up my design, I can come up to edit. And right here, this little fun flower right here takes an outline of that design. It's actually a great way to create an applique into an existing embroidery design without using software. So I'm going to touch the little flower, and it takes the outline of my leaf. And when I say memory, it's going to shoot that off to IQ Designer. Okay. Now, I have my leaf. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in memory of the machine, because I'm going to create my applique and then put this on top of it. So let's go home and come back to IQ Designer. Now, under IQ Designer, I need to find that shape that I just took. And there it is right now. So when I touch that, okay, it's going to bring up that shape. Now, let me take that outline and just make it a straight stitch outline. I have a straight stitch, and I'm just going to pick a color so that you can see I did something. I touch the bucket, I touch the outline, and all I have to do is say next. Now, that's going to create a simple outline that I can use to stitch down my applique on the back, my glitter vinyl. So when I go preview, okay, and there it is. Now when I set it to the land of embroidery, okay, there it is. Now I want to stitch it on my fabric, but then I want to place my vinyl, and then I want to stitch over the top of it. No worries. What I can do is simply take a copy of it, move that back totally into the center, and when I hit OK, and when I go to embroidery, I have two separate colors. Now, let's just add that one design that I want to go around the outside edge of. So return, add. Where'd I find it? I found it here on my jump drive. And it's down here, I believe. Got to pick the same one. There it is. Now, through the magic, let's put it on top of those two appliques. Oh my goodness, there it is. Now let's see what that looks like when we're going to stitch it out. I go into the magnification, and you can see, there it is. I can change my outline a little bit, but I think I'm going to be okay. But let's stitch it out. There's the one, there's the other, and there's the leaf going over the top of it. I think that's going to work. How pretty is that going to be? All right, it just took a few moments to create an embroidery applique. Now, I need to place it on my fabric, and I need the three parts of this design to stay together. No worries. I can go down here because the Altair has grouping function. So when I touch that, that selects all of the different parts of it. When I say OK and come to edit, I can absolutely group them. Now, when I move them as one unit, but there's still the three different designs. So let's put this on our project here. So I'm going to come up and say embroidery. Now, when I'm in embroidery, I have different ways to put it in. If I was using the IQ positioning app, I could simply take a picture of what's in my hoop. But it's pretty simple, and I don't really have a big, my leaf doesn't have to be someplace very special. So I'm going to touch this, and that is the trial key. And that can show me, basically, it can go around my design and show me exactly where it needs to be. Well, I'm sort of kind of guessing, aren't I? Well, I have a better idea. Let's say that we want to see a little light shining down to see exactly where that is. I'm going to move my design up just a little bit, and now let's try that trial key again. There's lots of ways to figure out exactly where your design's going to be. Pretty cool. All right, I think I'm ready to embroider. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change off from I'm going to take my metallic thread out, and let's put another color in. We're going to use this vinyl. So let's see, let's pick something that's kind of close-ish, and we'll thread up the machine with that. Now the very first stitching that the machine's going to do is going to be that first outline, and that's going to tell me where I can place my really pretty fusible glitter vinyl. So when I stitch this out, it's just showing me the placement. All right, now I know exactly where I need to put my glitter vinyl. So what I've done is I've pulled it off of the protective sheet. Now when you get a product like this, it actually comes with all kinds of really great instructions that show you step by step exactly how to do it. So I've done my placement line, I've pulled the protective plastic off, and now we're going to lay it on top of where we need to go. There we go. Now I can still use my tape to tape it down. It's multiple sticky. Because I created that first outline, I know exactly where this needs to be. I only need a tiny little piece back here. All right, now I think I'm ready to go. Lower my presser foot and hit start. So I'm almost ready for my other parts. I do have some work to do. I'm going to take the hoop out of the machine, and I'm going to use my nice little embroidery applique scissors and trim around that outside edge. While we're here though, what we could have used is we could have taken some just plain lame, put some fusible on the back of it, and done the exact same procedure. And that would be another shiny way to put a bit of bling into my project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. We're going to take it and leave it in the hoop, put the plastic back on, give it a quick little press, and when we come back, we're going to deal with something that's even more shiny. I know it's hard to believe, but we can have a little bit more bling. So I'm going to take this, trim around it, press it. When we come back, we'll be ready to sew something shiny. So this turned out pretty good. Look at how sparkly that is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a really close-up picture of this in the handout. And I do have a handout for you that talks about all the different things that I'm doing today, and it goes through step by step of creating that applique in IQ Designer. So if you missed a step, it is in the handout, and you might want to go see the pretty pictures anyway. So that's kind of fun. Oh, and by the way, I'm doing this on this is a great fun product. It's to do a decorator pillow, and what it is actually already mostly sewn for you. And all you do is it has the zipper and everything. You put all the embroidery in there, you sew it together, the three sides, and voila, you have a pillow. So that's kind of a fun, kind of a blank to help you get through that. And like I said, there'll be a picture in the handout. So you can do all kinds of stuff. I did use the Kimberbell glitter sheet. You can they also have what they call embroidery leather, which is like a vinyl. It doesn't have to be shiny. They make of mylar. You could also use any kind of shiny fabric that you have. Like I said, that lame, what it is all you would do is you would put a backing on it, a fusible backing. And they have shiny cork. Look at how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. So there's all kinds of choices to enhance your embroidery project if you want a little extra to shine out. Now, Speaking about a little extra to shine out, I have a great project and I think you might really enjoy doing this. So what I did is I did this wreath, and that wreath is very pretty. And actually, I don't know if you can see, but up here I put the Mylar behind it, and that gives it the extra glitter. But we want more, don't we? So what you can get, these are the OESD pixie lights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew an eyelet and put the little lights through, and they are very very shiny. So this is going to be a great wall hanging, and I have the little lights and I'm going to put them around, but I need some place for them to come through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew an eyelet on the machine, and the light's going to poke through, or the rest of the wires is going to be behind the project. Now let me show you how the machine sets up to do an eyelet. It's really simple. They're in the buttonhole category. And when you select the eyelet, you have 3 choices when it comes to the different sizes that you want. And I've sewn out the 3 sizes here. They're 7mm, 6mm, and 5mm. So what I can do is I'm going to choose the 7mm and just give you a visual of sewing that. So I'm going to lower the presser foot. Now I have the 7mm selected. Basically, all you're going to do is going to start on the side and sew the buttonhole automatically. And I've engaged the scissors also, so I really don't have to do anything but press the presser foot. Now, here is my pretty eyelet. And when like I said, the light is going to come through there. And you're going to select the size depending on the lights that you have. So, how do you get the hole in the middle, the perfect hole? Well, your machine came with this little eyelet punch that's the perfect size for doing the 5mm, and if you're doing the 7mm, you're just going to punch a bunch. Make sure you do it on top of a cutting mat because it's a punch. So basically all you're going to do is take it, press on down, press on down, press on down. And then when you get done, you can actually use the eyelet punch to get a little bit larger hole. And like I said, I'm just going to pull the lights through there, but I'm going to space them out because I don't know how long that wire is going to be. I'm going to make sure I do that. So this comes with your machine, and if you ever wondered what the thing with the orange handle was, it's for punching out your eyelets. Now, there's another thing that I'm going to do, and it is I got some other lights. These are lights I got at the very inexpensive store, shall we say. So I got these lights at the very inexpensive store, and I love that green wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on the top of my little wall hanging. Now, this is going to be really fun. And I'm just going to stitch these down. I have them with safety pins right now, but I have another stitch right next to that eyelet that's really going to help me stitch those down. So if I wanted to, I'm just going to take that button sewing stitch, put my wire down. Let me grab this wire so that you can see. Take the wire, put it underneath the foot, and make sure that I'm stitching over the top of it with that button sewing stitch. Now I am going to be very careful here because I don't want to stitch into the wire. So what I'm going to basically do, I've selected that, stitch, there we go, and the machine's just going to stitch over the top of the wire. And clip the thread when it's done. Now, I think it's going to be pretty secure, but if I wanted to, I can move down the wire just a little bit and do another one, or I could just go again. It makes it really fast and easy to tack my wires to the front of a project if I want to. And I think it's pretty cute. Actually, I don't know if you can see it, but this is done with that same applique technique that I used to put the applique with the shiny underneath. This is just an applique, and I'm going to add all kinds of fun stuff for this. So are you ready for the big reveal? What I did on this one is the battery pack goes through the little buttonhole right there. And I'm going to put a little pom-pom on the snowman, but I want you to see how cute this one is. Let me find the little battery pack on the back. Are you ready? Look how cute that is. Oh my goodness. That's just cute as a bug's ear. I think that's going to be the holiday highlight of my wall. So I hope you enjoyed coming down the shiny path with me today. All kinds of fun stuff. Metallic thread, mylar, little lights. There's all kinds of ways to add shiny to your project. So I'm going to send it off to George. We've explored a lot of different options in the Baby Lock Altair, and he's going to tell you a few more as well. So thanks for watching, and go out then, shine up your world.
Thanks, Kathy. As usual, that was an incredible presentation. The Baby Lock Altair is dollar for dollar the most advanced machine in the industry. It has a large 9.5 by 14-inch embroidery area, plus 494 built-in beautiful designs, 30 of the most amazing fonts that you can arc and ray and edit, plus many large, beautiful monograms. You have the ability to create a design without a computer. With the IQ Designer, you can take an image from a phone, send it to a machine, and it turns into beautiful embroidery instantly. You also have an automatic applique creator to create great borders around names and other embroidery designs. Plus, of course, we love our never miss needle threader, and it also cuts all the jump stitches that you want. Now, it's not just for embroidery. This is an incredible machine with 11.25-inch opening. It also has a automatic fabric sensor. This fabric sensor senses heavy fabric like denim and sews automatically from there. It will also sew on lighter fabric like tricot. It will sew elastic. It's incredible. Now, for the real difficult fabric and for quilting, it has a digital dual feed with a belt system that controls all fabrics perfectly. It also has a laser guide, so you can guide for that perfect seam allowance. It's incredible. As I mentioned, this is dollar for dollar the most advanced machine in the industry. We have a special package right now. The total package value is $14,999, but we have it on sale for $8,999. We're offering free shipping across the country, as well as we have interest-free payments of under $188 a month. But that's not all. We have a special bonus for a limited time, and while supplies last, we're including 63 spools of beautiful embroidery thread, 2 separate design collections by Anita Good Design, which has over 600 design files in all different styles. We're including stabilizer, all kinds of needles, bobbins, and a membership to Love of Knowledge. We're here, you're going to see all kinds of demonstrations and techniques on the Baby Lock Altair and other sewing techniques. This is for a limited time, but I also mentioned we have interest-free payments. Now, for those who don't want to finance, we have even a better bonus. So give us a call at 1-800-865-9664 or click on the link to order today. Bye for now.